He was brought up on Victorian Tyneside by the man known as the father of the railways. Robert Stephenson helped his father George and became a brilliant and creative engineer in his own right. Well, today there was a special ceremony at Westminster Abbey to mark the 150th anniversary of Robert Stephenson's death. Sharuna Saga has tonight's Look North report.
The creative genius of Robert Stephenson. His legacy from the 1800s lives on. From bridge building to the railways and everything in between, his astonishing grasp of engineering shaped his destiny.
Our journey begins here in Killingworth in North Tyneside, and this is the Stephenson family home. Robert lived here for most of his childhood, but sadly most of that was without his mother because she died when he was just 2 years old, and he was largely raised by his father, who doted on his only son and taught him everything he knew. Hi Michael, what's the significance of the sundial in the Stephensons' life?
Well, George was determined that Robert would have a good education, and so they were spending evenings sort of looking at machinery and clocks and all those sort of things. And one of the tasks that he set young Robert was to set about designing this dial. Robert did all the mathematical calculations for the geome that cast the shadow over the dial, and of course everybody knows this as Dial Cottage today.
And Robert was just 13 when he did that?
He was only 13 when he did that, yes, a young man.
Over the next few years, the Stephensons' work on the steam railways gathered pace, and with his father's support, aged just 19, Robert went on to run the world's first locomotive factory in Newcastle, the 4th Street Works, where he created the rocket, amongst others. He became a celebrity thanks to his groundbreaking achievements.
Take Newcastle Central Station, for example, and just look up. That roof is considered amongst the finest in the world. In 1850, the year that the station was opened by Queen Victoria, a huge banquet was held on the main platform here in honour of Robert. And in the same year, Queen Victoria offered him a knighthood, which he refused. Now, why would he do such a thing?
Well, it is strange because both Robert and George had received awards from all over the world for their works, but George hadn't been offered a knighthood, so Robert turned it down in deference to his father.
But just outside Central Station, he was able to honour his father with the Stephenson Monument.
Robert was on the committee that actually commissioned it, but by the time it went up, both father and son had passed away. Now, Robert at that time was far, far more famous than his dad, and you can see Robert here on the right, the figure with the locomotive. But I think this monument sums up their relationship perfectly. Robert put his father George on a pedestal.
Robert himself was so revered, his funeral in Westminster Abbey attracted 3,000 mourners, and thousands more lined the streets to see his cortege.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Stephenson was the most admired engineer in England during the first part of Queen Victoria's.
And today, a century and a half later, a ceremony was held beside his grave to remember an exceptional man who changed the way we live. Sharuna Saga, BBC Look North.